A woman's hand holds a wedding invitation stained with old tears. 5 years keeping a secret that could destroy 3 lives. Or save one. 3 identical children play in the background, oblivious to the weight they carry in their genes. The camera closes on the printed name, his name. What happens when the truth you buried shows up at the altar with your eyes? Ja-hyun, 29, successful tech startup CEO, sat frozen at her desk, staring at the cream envelope with gold embossing. Her assistant had left it among the usual business correspondence, unaware of what it contained. Mr. Kang Min-jun and Ms. Park Seo-yeon request the honor of your presence. Her hands didn't shake. They hadn't shaken in 5 years, not since the night she left Min-jun's blood-soaked apartment with more than just broken promises. Mommy? 3 voices. Always 3. Ji-hoon, Ji-ho, and Ji-woo stood at her office door, identical 5-year-olds with their father's sharp jawline and her defiant eyes. The nanny apologized. They'd insisted on saying goodnight before she took them home. Ji-hyun closed the invitation before they could see. Just work, my loves. The lie tasted like ash. Everything about Min-jun tasted like ash now. But as she kissed each small forehead, Ji-hoon's stubborn cowlick, Ji-ho's missing front tooth, Ji-woo's serious expression, she felt the old wound reopening. He doesn't know they exist. He doesn't know what he did. That night changed everything. And Seo-yeon, the woman who'd orchestrated Ji-hyun's exile from Min-jun's world 5 years ago with surgical precision, was about to become his wife. The invitation wasn't an olive branch. It was a victory lap. Flashback. 5 years and 9 months ago. The charity gala had been Seo-yeon's stage. Min-jun's world was hers to control. Even then, his strategic advisor, the woman who'd built his legitimate empire while he dismantled his father's criminal one, Ji-hyun had been the outlier. The art curator who'd stumbled into Min-jun's life through a museum fundraiser, who knew nothing of the Kang family's dark legacy, who made him laugh at 3 a.m. over cheap convenience store ramen. She's a liability, Seo-yeon had told Min-jun that night, her voice clinical. The prosecution is building a RICO case. Anyone close to you becomes leverage. I don't care. You will when they use her to destroy everything your mother built before she died. Min-jun had looked at Ji-hyun across the gala floor, radiant in a second-hand dress, laughing with his younger sister, and something in him had broken. The fight that followed was their last. Words designed to sever. You were a distraction. Nothing more. Ji-hyun left his apartment at 2 a.m., tears streaming, not knowing she carried 3 pieces of him inside her, not knowing Seo-yeon had orchestrated every word. Present day. Ji-hyun's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I made sure your name was on the list. Wouldn't want you to miss the happiest day of my life. The children must be getting so big. Shame their father will never know. S. The threat was clear. Seo-yeon knew. She'd always known. And the wedding invitation wasn't a celebration. It was a detonation countdown. Min-jun signed the merger documents without reading them. Seo-yeon had already reviewed every clause. She always did. 6 years of partnership had taught him to trust her judgment on everything except one thing. You're distracted, she said, perched on the edge of his desk in a way that suggested intimacy without requiring it. Cold feet? No. Liar. But she smiled. It's her, isn't it? The name hung between them, unspoken. It had been unspoken for 5 years. Ji-hyun RSVP'd. Seo-yeon continued, examining her manicure. Accepted. Plus 3 guests. Min-jun's pen stopped mid-signature. You invited her. Of course. Closure, darling. For both of you. Seo-yeon's voice was honey over razor wire. She's moved on beautifully. Built quite the empire in artificial intelligence. Government contracts. International acclaim. Why are you telling me this? Because on our wedding day, I want you present. Not haunted. She touched his jaw, forcing him to meet her eyes. And because she deserves to see what she lost. What Seo-yeon didn't say, she deserves to watch me win. Min-jun's truth, the one he never spoke. He'd searched for Ji-hyun for 6 months after she left. Hired investigators, called every friend, found nothing, as if she'd been erased from Seoul. He'd stopped searching the day the RICO case collapsed. The day his father died in prison. The day he realized Seo-yeon had been right about everything. Ji-hyun was better off without him. That's what he told himself when he proposed to Seo-yeon 3 years later. A marriage of strategy, not passion. A partnership that made sense. But some nights, the ones where insomnia clawed at him, he still remembered the weight of Ji-hyun's head on his chest, the way she hummed off-key while cooking, the particular shade of gold in her eyes when she laughed. The phone buzzed. His head of security. Sir, we've identified a data breach. Someone's been accessing your personal files. DNA records from your annual physicals. Routing through offshore servers. Can't trace origin. Min-jun's blood went cold. Only two people had authorization to access those files, him and Seo-yeon. The moment Ji-hyun stepped out of the black sedan, Seoul's tabloid photographers went silent. Not because of her Tom Ford gown, though it was flawless. Not because of the three children who emerged after her, dressed in matching navy suits, though they were breathtaking, but because Min-jun was standing at the venue entrance, frozen mid-greeting with guests, and the look on his face was not recognition, it was devastation. Ji-hyun spoke first, his 5-year-old voice carrying across the marble courtyard. "Mommy, why is everyone staring?" Ji-ho tugged her hand. "Is this where Daddy works?" Ji-woo said nothing, just studied Min-jun with the same analytical intensity Min-jun was famous for. Ji-hyun had prepared for this moment for 6 weeks, rehearsed every word, every step, but she hadn't prepared for the way Min-jun aged 10 years in 10 seconds, or for Seo-yeon appearing at his side in her wedding gown, her smile sharp enough to cut glass. "Ji-hyun, you came." Seo-yeon's hand rested possessively on Min-jun's arm. "And you brought children. How unexpected." The pause before children was deliberate. Poisonous. "My sons," Ji-hyun said clearly. "Ji-hoon, Ji-ho, Ji-woo. Say hello." 3 small voices. "Hello?" Min-jun's eyes moved from face to face to face. Identical. 5 years old. The math was simple. The implications were nuclear. "Min-jun," Seo-yeon's voice had an edge now. "The ceremony starts in 20 minutes. We should—" "How old are they?" Min-jun's voice was barely audible. Ji-hyun met his eyes for the first time in 5 years. 5 years and 3 months. Exactly 9 months after the last night we spent together. Exactly 9 months after you destroyed me. Seo-yeon's grip on Min-jun's arm tightened until her knuckles went white. "What a coincidence," she said, her smile never wavering. "They have your eyes, Ji-hyun, unmistakable." But everyone present could see the truth. Those eyes, sharp, dark, calculating, weren't Ji-hyun's. They were Kang eyes. They were Min-jun's eyes, replicated 3 times, staring up at the father who didn't know they existed. Min-jun's breaking point. He couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The world had narrowed to 3 small faces and 1 impossible truth. "Ji-hyun, congratulations on your wedding," she said, her voice steady despite the tears threatening at the corners of her eyes. The boys wanted to see where their mother used to work. The pause before work was intentional. Everyone in Min-jun's world knew the story. The girl who wasn't good enough, the distraction, the one who left. No one knew the real story. The woman he loved, the woman he destroyed to save, the woman who vanished carrying his children. Seo-yeon leaned close to Min-jun's ear, her whisper for him alone. "If you cancel this wedding, I release the DNA evidence I've been sitting on for 5 years. Your sons become public knowledge. Your enemies become their enemies. The Kang family legacy, the one your mother died protecting, becomes their burden." Then louder, for the crowd. "Shall we begin? Our guests are waiting." Ji-hyun's power move. She'd expected rage, denial, accusations. She hadn't expected Min-jun to look at his sons with such naked longing it made her chest ache. "Ji-woo," she said softly, "give Mr. Kang your gift." The smallest triplet, the quiet one, the observer, stepped forward with a manila envelope. "Mommy says you like puzzles," Ji-woo said seriously. "This one's really hard." Min-jun took the envelope with shaking hands. Inside, 3 birth certificates, 3 DNA test results, 3 lives he'd missed, and a single note in Ji-hyun's handwriting. "You told me I was nothing. You told me to disappear. I did, but they deserved better than a father who could throw away love like garbage. So I gave them everything you couldn't. Honesty, presence, truth. I'm not here for revenge. I'm here because Seo-yeon has been blackmailing me for 5 years, threatening to expose them if I ever contacted you. She's been waiting for this moment, to make you choose between the family you never knew and the empire she helped you build. Choose carefully. The next 5 minutes decide whether your sons have a father or a ghost." The clock started. Seo-yeon's smile never faltered, but her eyes promised murder. Min-jun looked at the 3 boys, at Ji-hyun, at the wedding guests filing into the chapel, at Seo-yeon, at the life he'd built on lies. And for the first time in 5 years, Kang Min-jun had to choose between duty and truth, between the woman who'd controlled his world and the family he never knew he'd destroyed. Min-jun looked at the birth certificates. 3 names, 3 weights, 3 lengths. Kang Ji-hoon, Kang Ji-ho, Kang Ji-woo. She'd given them his name, even when he'd given her nothing. "Min-jun." Seo-yeon's voice was steel wrapped in silk. "Every second you hesitate, you endanger them more. The Choi family has been waiting 6 years to destroy the Kang name. Your father's enemies. Your enemies. Those children become leverage the moment the world knows they exist. You knew. His voice was hollow. For 5 years you knew I had sons and you said nothing. I protected them. Seo-yeon stepped closer. Every threat neutralized. Every inquiry buried. Every trail erased. Do you think Ji-hyun built her company from nothing? I made sure she had the capital, the connections, the protection. Why? Because I loved you enough to let you grieve her. Seo-yeon's mask cracked just for a moment. And because those children deserved a mother who could raise them without fear. Something I could never give them. The truth hit him like a blade. You can't have children. Endometriosis. Diagnosed 3 years ago. Her voice was clinical again. This marriage was never about love, Minjun. It was about legacy. Your empire needed an heir. I provided. Alternatives. Ji-hyun. A controlled reintroduction. Once we're married, the children could be legitimized. Protected under the Kang name. You'd have your sons. I'd have my position. Ji-hyun would have security. And what would Ji-hyun have? Seo-yeon's smile was bitter. Everything but you. The door burst open. Ji-hyun stood there, the triplets behind her, her face pale. Tell him, she said to Seo-yeon. Tell him what you did that night. The real reason I left. Seo-yeon's composure cracked further. Ji-hyun, you drugged him. Ji-hyun's voice shook with 5 years of rage. The night of the gala. You put something in his drink because he told you he was going to propose to me. He doesn't even remember what he said to me that night, does he? Minjun's world tilted. That's not rohypnol, Ji-hyun continued. Enough to make him suggestible. Enough to make him say what you coached him to say. You were a distraction, nothing more. But you didn't count on him still having enough clarity to follow me, to apologize, to tell me he loved me one last time before the drug fully kicked in. The night replayed in Minjun's fractured memory, walking after Ji-hyun. The stairs, her apartment, tears, his hands shaking. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean any of it. Her mouth on his, desperate. Goodbye disguised as reconciliation, waking alone. The note. You made your choice. Don't look for me. The gaps in his memory. The missing hours. The headache that lasted 3 days. He'd thought it was alcohol. It was poison. You took that night from me, Minjun said slowly, turning to Seo-yeon. You took my son's first 5 years. I took nothing you weren't willing to lose. Seo-yeon's composure shattered. You think that drug made you cruel? I gave you an out. A way to push her away before your father's enemies used her as a weapon. And what did you do? You followed her. You apologized. You were weak. I loved her. Love would have killed her. Seo-yeon was shouting now. Your father had a hit out on anyone you cared about. Your mother died because she loved him. Your sister was kidnapped at 15. I spent 6 years dismantling his empire so you could have a chance at something normal, and you were going to throw it away on a girl who knew nothing about our world. Silence. Then Ji-woo's small voice. Mommy, why is the pretty lady yelling? Everything stopped. Minjun's choice. He knelt in front of his sons. 3 pairs of eyes. His eyes, looking at him with curiosity, not fear. They didn't know what hate was, what violence was, what the Kang name had cost everyone who carried it. Ji-woo, Ji-ho, Ji-hoon, he said carefully. If I could give you something, what would you want? Ji-hoon. A puppy. Ji-ho. The Lego Death Star. Ji-woo, serious as always. For mommy to stop crying at night. Minjun looked at Ji-hyun. She was crying now, silently, her hand pressed to her mouth. He stood, faced Seo-yeon. You're right, he said quietly. About all of it. My world is violent, dangerous, unforgiving. Seo-yeon exhaled, thinking she'd won, which is why I'm ending it. Her face went white. The marriage is off. The Kang Empire, the legitimate side, goes to charity. The infrastructure, the buildings, all of it. Minjun, I spent 6 years atoning for my father's sins by building something clean, but it's still built on blood money. It's still a target. He looked at his sons. And I won't let them inherit a war I didn't start but never finished. You'll have nothing. I'll have everything that matters. He turned to Ji-hyun. I can't ask you to forgive me. I can't erase 5 years. But I can choose differently now. What are you saying? I'm saying I'm walking away from all of it. The name, the money, the power, if you'll let me. I want to be their father. Not a Kang. Not a boss. Just their father. Seo-yeon's final move. You think it's that simple? Her voice was deadly calm now. Walk away? Disappear? The Choi family won't let you. They've been waiting for you to show weakness. Let them come. Not for you. Seo-yeon looked at the triplets. For them. The threat hung in the air. Then Ji-hyun spoke, her voice steady. Unless you make the announcement yourself, right now, at the wedding. Both Minjun and Seoyeon stared at her. You're brilliant at PR, Seoyeon. Always have been. Jihyun stepped forward. So here's how this works. You go out there and announce that the wedding is off because Minjun has decided to step down from all Kang family business interests to focus on his newfound family. 3 sons. A reconciled relationship. A fresh start. Why would I? Because if you don't, I release the proof that you drugged him 5 years ago. The medical records I kept, the timestamps, the pharmacy records I had my lawyer subpoena last month. Jihyun's voice was ice. You go to prison for felony assault and conspiracy. Everything you built crumbles. Seoyeon's laugh was broken. You can't prove I intended. I have recordings from the gala. You telling your assistant exactly what you were doing and why. Jihyun pulled out her phone. 6 years in tech taught me something. Always back up your data. Checkmate. The announcement. 20 minutes later, Seoyeon stood before 300 wedding guests, her smile perfect, her voice steady. Thank you all for coming. Unfortunately, there will be no wedding today. Minjun and I have decided to part ways amicably as he pursues a new chapter in his life, reconnecting with his 3 young sons and their mother, a brilliant entrepreneur he lost touch with years ago. Gasps, whispers, cameras flashing. The Kang family legacy will continue through charitable foundations, ensuring my late father-in-law's empire serves the public good rather than private interests. I'll be spearheading this transition as CEO of the Kang Foundation. She'd negotiated the CEO position in exchange for the announcement. Control without the target on her back. As for Minjun, I wish him every happiness. Family, she said, looking directly at Jihyun, is what we make it. The crowd erupted, and in the anteroom, Minjun held Jihoon's hand, Jiho's hand, and Jiwoo's hand, watching his old life end on a live stream. Jihyun stood apart, not beside him, not yet. What now? He asked. Now, she said, you learn what it means to show up, every day, for 5 years of bedtimes you missed.
안녕, 여러분. Before you continue, if this story touched something in you, you should know I didn't tell everything yet. The complete version has 20 full audio episodes. No interruptions, no ads. Just the story, the emotions, and the moments I couldn't fit in here. If you scan the QR code on your screen, or tap the link in the pinned comment, to continue listening right now.
5 years of nightmares you weren't there for. 5 years of being everything to them because you were nothing. I will. Words are easy, Minjun. Her voice cracked. You destroyed me once. Said I meant nothing. Made me believe I was worth nothing. I was drugged. I know. But the damage is real. Tears spilled down her cheeks. The boys ask about their father. I tell them he's a good man who made hard choices. But I don't know if I believe that anymore. I don't know if I can trust you with their hearts. What do I have to do? Prove it. She wiped her eyes. Not with grand gestures, with boring everyday presents, with showing up when it's hard, with choosing them over everything else. Every single time. Jihoon tugged Minjun's sleeve. Are you our daddy? The world held its breath. Minjun knelt, eye level with his sons. I'm a man who made terrible mistakes, who hurt your mother, who missed the first 5 years of your lives. His voice broke. But if you'll let me, if your mother gives me the chance, I'd like to try to be your father. It won't be perfect. I won't be perfect. But I'll be here. Jiwoo studied him with those 2 old eyes. Then, okay, but you have to learn how to make pancakes. Mommy burns them. Hey! Jihyun laughed through tears. And Minjun smiled, really smiled, for the first time in 5 years. The mornings were hardest. Minjun woke at 5:30 a.m. in the studio apartment he'd rented 3 blocks from Jihyun's place. No security detail, no driver, no bulletproof car. Just him, a bus pass, and a new job as a financial consultant for a mid-sized nonprofit. His first paycheck had been $200. He'd once spent that on a single dinner. But at 6:15 a.m., when he knocked on Jihyun's door to help with breakfast before school, and Jihoon answered wearing his Spider-Man pajamas, yelling, "Daddy's here!" And that was worth every private jet he'd sold. The reality of fatherhood. No one prepared Minjun for the chaos. Week 1, Jiho threw up in his car, a used Hyundai, not a Bentley, after too much ice cream. Minjun cleaned it at 11 p.m. in a gas station parking lot, gagging. Week 4, Jiwoo had a nightmare about monsters. Minjun sat on the floor of his room until 3 a.m., making shadow puppets until the fear faded. Week 8, Jihoon asked why he didn't live with them. Minjun had to explain that Mommy and Daddy are still learning to trust each other. Week 12, Parent-Teacher Conference. The teacher casually mentioned how wonderful it was that Ji-hyun had found someone willing to step up for the boys. She didn't know Min-jun was their biological father. No one did. That was the agreement. The boys called him Min-jun in public, Daddy in private. Until they earned the right to claim each other openly, they protected each other quietly. Ji-hyun's wall. She didn't thaw quickly. Every dinner Min-jun cooked, badly. Every bedtime story he read, with terrible voice acting. Every school pickup he made on time. She watched, waiting for him to break, waiting for him to choose something, anything, over them. Month 3, his former business partner called, offered him a CEO position, $2 million salary. Min-jun declined without consulting Ji-hyun. She found out from the news. "Why didn't you tell me?" she demanded that night after the boys were asleep. "Because it wasn't a choice. Not anymore. Everything is a choice, Min-jun. Then I choose this. Every time. Even when you don't trust me to." She'd left the room without answering, but the next morning, there was coffee waiting for him when he arrived. His favorite kind. Small thaw. Glacial pace. The breakthrough. Month 5. Ji-woo's birthday. The quiet one. The observer. The party was at an indoor play center. 15 kindergartners hopped up on cake and chaos. Min-jun noticed Ji-woo sitting alone watching the other kids. "Not having fun, buddy? They're too loud." "Yeah? Do you ever feel like you don't fit?" Min-jun's heart cracked. "Every day of my life." Ji-woo looked up at him, those Kang eyes, too, knowing for 5, and said, "Mommy says you're trying really hard." "I am." "Is it working?" Honesty. That's what Ji-hyun had demanded, no matter how hard. "I don't know, Ji-woo, but I'm going to keep trying until it does." The boy considered this. Then, "Okay, me too." "You too what?" "I'm going to keep trying too. With you. Being my daddy." Min-jun couldn't breathe. "I'd like that." Ji-woo hugged him, brief, fierce, then gone. But Ji-hyun had seen it. Across the room, tears streaming down her face. That night, the boys were asleep. Min-jun was preparing to leave. "Stay," Ji-hyun said. He froze. "Just stay. On the couch." "I'm tired of you leaving every night." "Ji-hyun, I'm not saying I forgive you. I'm not saying we're together." Her voice was raw. "But I'm tired of pretending you're not part of this family. The boys ask why you don't live here. I don't have a good answer anymore. What do you want me to say?" "Nothing. For once, say nothing. Just exist in the same space, without it meaning everything, or nothing." So he stayed, on the couch, 3 feet from her bedroom door. A gulf of hurt between them, but together in the silence. "The Choi family wants revenge," Ji-hyun said. "They want Min-jun to suffer, to lose everything the way they lost everything. Yes, we've established this. And so we give them something better. We give them leverage." She pulled up a file on the main screen. Kang Enterprises, Financial Holdings. "Min-jun's company is worth 2 trillion won. Seo Yan, you're the COO. What if we offered them controlling interest?" "They'd never accept it." "What if we added something they want more than money? More than revenge? Which is?" Ji-hyun smiled. It was not a kind smile. "Immunity, legitimacy, respectability." She pulled up another file. Choi family criminal record. Choi Sung-min and his brothers have been running their father's empire for 15 years. Drugs, weapons, trafficking. They're wanted by Interpol in 6 countries. "But what if we offered them a way out? You want to make them legitimate?" Seo-yeon stared at her. "That's insane." "Is it? Min-jun did it. You helped him do it. Why not the Choi family?" Min-jun finally spoke. "You're saying we offer them Kang Enterprises. Complete control. In exchange for my sons." "Yes. I'd have nothing. And you'd have your children. You'd have your life." Ji-hyun met his eyes. "Isn't that what you said you wanted? To walk away from the empire?" He was silent for a long time. Then, "Make the offer." Scene 31, the negotiation. Seo-yeon called Choi Sung-min. He answered on the second ring. "Ms. Park, how lovely to hear from you. Come to surrender?" "I've come to make a deal." "I'm listening." "Kang Enterprises, 2 trillion won in assets. Controlling interest transferred to the Choi family, plus a full legal team to legitimize your operations. Offshore accounts, clean money, respectability. Silence on the other end. Then, in exchange for, the children, unharmed, today. And Min-jun walks away, alive. He gets his sons. You get his empire. Everyone wins." More silence. "You're serious. Deadly. Why would I trust you?" "Because I've spent 6 years building that empire. I'm not going to let Min-jun destroy it with a suicide mission. This way he lives, the children live, and you get everything you wanted without the mess." Choi Sung-min considered. I want Minjun present at the exchange. I want to see his face when he loses everything. Done. And I want you to stay on as COO to ensure the transition goes smoothly. Seoyeon's jaw tightened. Agreed. Then we have a deal. Tomorrow, noon, the old shipyard in Incheon. Come alone. Any tricks, and the children die. The line went dead. Scene 32. The truth. That night, Minjun found Ji-hyun on the roof of Kang Enterprises. She was staring out at Seoul's skyline, tears streaming silently down her face. You didn't have to do this, he said quietly. Yes, I did. I would have traded myself and left our sons fatherless? No. She wiped her eyes. I lost you once. I survived. But they need you. They need their father. I'm not worth it. That's not for you to decide. She finally looked at him. You want to know why I kept them? Why I didn't get rid of them when I found out I was pregnant? He nodded. Because every time I looked at the ultrasound, I saw you. Your eyes, your stubbornness, your brilliance. Her voice cracked. And I couldn't destroy that. Even when I hated you. Even when I wanted to forget you existed. Ji-hyun. I named them after you, you know. Kang Ji-hoon, wisdom and excellence. So Kang Ji-ho, intelligence and vastness. Kang Ji-woo, wisdom and universe. Because I wanted them to be everything you could have been if you'd been born into a different family. Minjun couldn't speak. So don't tell me you're not worth it, Ji-hyun continued. Because to them, to Ji-hoon and Ji-ho and Ji-woo, you're everything. He pulled her into his arms. She fought it for half a second, then collapsed into him, sobbing. 5 years of pain, 5 years of loneliness, 5 years of being strong, finally breaking. I'm sorry, Minjun whispered into her hair. For everything. For being weak, for letting you go, for not fighting harder. I don't want apologies. I want you to fight now. For them. For us. I will, I promise. I don't promise. Prove it. Scene 33. The exchange location. Incheon Shipyard. Time, noon exactly. Status, 24 hours after the kidnapping. The shipyard was a graveyard of rusted cargo containers and abandoned ships. Perfect place for an ambush. Minjun, Ji-hyun, and Seoyeon arrived in a single vehicle. No security, no backup. As demanded. Choi Sung-min was waiting, flanked by 12 armed men. And in the center, 3 small figures. The triplets. Alive, unharmed, blindfolded. Mr. Kang! Sung-min called out. Right on time, I appreciate punctuality. Where's the paperwork? Seoyeon said coldly. The transfer documents? Right here. Sung-min held up a briefcase. Kang Enterprises. All yours for the low, low price of 3 children. Let them go first. Not how this works. You sign, then I release them. How do we know you won't kill us all the moment the transfer is complete? Sung-min smiled. You don't. Minjun stepped forward. I'll sign. But I want to see their faces first. I want to know they're okay. Minjun! Ji-hyun grabbed his arm. It's okay. He looked at her. Trust me. He walked toward Sung-min, slowly, hands visible. Remove the blindfolds. Sung-min nodded to one of his men. The blindfolds came off. Ji-hoon, Ji-ho, and Ji-woo blinked in the sudden sunlight, then saw their parents. Mommy! Ji-hoon screamed. Daddy! Ji-ho shouted. Ji-woo said nothing, just stared at Minjun with those 2 knowing eyes. Minjun knelt in front of them, even though there was still 20 feet of distance, guns pointed at everyone. I'm sorry, he said quietly. I'm so sorry, but I'm going to fix this. I promise. Are you our daddy? Ji-hoon asked, tears streaming down his face. Yes. For real? For real. Ji-ho. Are you going to save us? I'm going to try. Ji-woo, ever analytical. What's the probability of success? Minjun smiled, despite everything. Higher than you think. He stood, walked to Seoyeon. Give me the documents. She handed him the briefcase. He opened it, reviewed the transfer agreements, everything he'd built, everything he'd sacrificed his father's legacy to create. Gone. He signed. There, Minjun said, handing the briefcase to Sung-min. It's yours. Now release my sons. Sung-min took the briefcase, reviewed the signatures, smiled. You know what? I think I'll keep them anyway. What? You heard me. The company and the kids. Because watching you lose everything is so much more satisfying. He raised his gun. Scene 34. The reversal. But Minjun was already moving, not toward Sung-min, toward Ji-woo. Because Ji-woo had been working on the ropes binding his wrist for the past 5 minutes, loosening them, waiting for the right moment. The boy's analytical mind had calculated the exact second everyone would be distracted by Minjun's signature. Now. Ji-woo slipped his hands free, grabbed a piece of broken pipe lying near his chair, and swung it at the nearest guard's kneecap. The man went down. Chaos erupted. Ji-hyun had been waiting for a signal. Any signal. This was it. She pulled the smoke grenades she'd hidden in her jacket, courtesy of Jung Tai-soo, who'd absolutely not let them come to an exchange without contingencies, and threw them. Thick gray smoke filled the shipyard. Gunfire. Shouting. And in the confusion, Min-jun grabbed Ji-hoon and Ji-ho, while Seo-yeon grabbed Ji-woo and ran. Jung Tai-soo and his team emerged from the cargo containers where they'd been hiding since dawn, because obviously Min-jun wasn't going to come to a hostage exchange completely undefended. Tactical assault, professional, brutal, efficient, 12 Choi family soldiers versus 8 elite security contractors. The fight lasted 90 seconds. When the smoke cleared, 11 Choi soldiers were down. Choi Sung-min had escaped, but the children were safe. Scene 35. Reunion. Ji-hyun collapsed in the middle of the shipyard, holding all 3 of her sons, sobbing uncontrollably. I thought I lost you. I thought I lost you. I thought... We're okay, Mommy.
If you made it to the end, you already understand this isn't just another story. What you watched here is only a fragment. The full experience lives in 20 complete audio episodes, carefully told, with every detail, every emotion, every turning point. There are no ads, no interruptions, and nothing was removed like it is on YouTube. You can listen anytime on your phone with total privacy, inside the members-only area. Scan the QR code on your screen now, or tap the link in the pinned comment to unlock the full story and continue listening immediately.
Ji-hoon said, patting her head awkwardly. We're okay. Ji-ho was crying too. I was so scared. Ji-woo, practical to the end. Can we go home now? I'm hungry. Min-jun stood apart, watching, not sure if he had the right to be part of this moment. Then Ji-hoon looked up and saw him. Daddy, come here. I don't think... Daddy, now! So he knelt, and 3 small boys threw themselves into his arms. It was awkward, clumsy, overwhelming, perfect. Seo-yeon watched from a distance, something unreadable in her expression. Then she turned and walked away, quietly, alone, the way she'd always been. Epilogue. 6 months later, Min-jun's apartment was small, cramped. Nothing like the penthouse he used to live in, but it had 3 bedrooms, 1 for each boy, and a kitchen where he burned pancakes every Sunday morning. Ji-hyun hadn't moved in, not yet, but she was there 5 nights a week. For dinner, for bedtime, for the ordinary, boring, beautiful routine of parenthood. How was school? Min-jun asked as the triplets burst through the door at 3:30 p.m. Ji-hoon, I got a gold star in math. Ji-ho, I drew a picture of our family and the teacher said it was very expressive. Ji-woo, I finished the quantum physics book. Can I have the next one? Min-jun laughed. You're 5, Ji-woo. Maybe start with Dr. Seuss? Dr. Seuss is beneath me. That night, after the boys were asleep, Min-jun and Ji-hyun sat on the tiny balcony, drinking cheap wine. Seo-yeon called. Min-jun said, What did she want? To tell me the Choi family signed the truce. It's over. They get the company. We get our lives. How do you feel about that? Honestly, relieved. He looked at her. I don't miss it. The empire, the power, any of it. What do you miss? Nothing. For the first time in my life, I have everything I need. Ji-hyun studied him in the dim light. I'm not ready to forgive you. Not completely. I know. But I'm getting there. That's enough. She leaned against him. Ask me again. Ask you what? You know what? He smiled. Lee Ji-hyun, will you marry me? Not yet. But she was smiling too. Ask me again in 6 months. When you've proven you can keep showing up, keep choosing us, I will. Then maybe. Inside the apartment, a small voice called out, Daddy? I had a nightmare. Ji-woo. Min-jun stood, squeezed Ji-hyun's hand and went to his son. This was his life now. Midnight wake-ups, burnt pancakes, cheap wine, tiny apartments, and it was perfect. A figure stands outside Ji-hyun's apartment building, watching, waiting. The camera pans up to reveal Choi Sung-min, alive, scarred, furious. He pulls out a phone, dials. It's me. I found them, and this time, I'm not playing games. Sound, a child's scream from inside the apartment. Smash cut to black caption. Some debts can never be paid. Episode 02, The Reckoning, Part 2. Coming soon. Did you love this story? Then don't leave me hanging. Drop a comment. What was your favorite moment? Share this. Help others find this story. Hit that like button. Show me you want episodes 02.